And good morning, Planet 417. Bruce Porter, financial expert right here from the Resource Center. We're going to be talking about planning, estate planning, financial planning, all kinds of planning coming up next right here on Dollars and Cents.
Putting the client first. That was my main priority some 20 years ago when I started the Resource Center, and it remains my priority today. That's why I wrote Finding the Courage to Retire, to help guide you confidently along a journey that should be the most rewarding of your life, from creating sustainable income and preservation strategies to understanding Social Security, Medicare, and much more. This book is the retirement roadmap you need. To get your free copy, just call or email our office today.
And we are back.
How are you?
Better than I deserve. How are you?
It's been a crazy week.
I get to
Busy?
I get to go back to the doctor right after this and check on my broken shoulder. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that and seeing if I'm going to have surgery. So
How'd you break that?
I slipped and fell on the ice like an old man. Yeah, that's how I did it.
Were you looking at your phone when that happened?
No, I wasn't. I was looking at the icy parking lot thinking about the best way to drive out of the parking lot
Then you got out.
as opposed to walking on the icy parking lot, which was really what got me, what did
You
me
could
in.
wear golf shoes.
You know, the problem is that would have been a great plan, but I didn't make a great plan.
Yeah.
So planning is important.
Yeah.
Did you see that
it is.
segue? That was a good segue,
Hey,
man. That was smooth.
Hey, it really was. Hey, we got 2 more workshops coming up next week. We still have a little bit of room in the first one, and we've got some space in the second one. We try to keep those, pretty small groups.
Yeah. There's a sweet
And
spot. Too few is not good, but too many is tough to.
12, 15 people is plenty.
Yeah, that's great.
And
I love that.
We purposely do that. I don't want 30 people in the room. People can't get as much out of it.
Right.
And they hesitate to interact. And so we purposely do that. So if you want to come and learn, just call the office, 882-1800. Talk to Wendy, Michelle, Sierra, and we can get you into the estate planning informational workshops. They're very valuable. I can't emphasize enough how many times people after the workshop go, wow, I wished I would have met you guys 10 years ago, or I wished I would have come sooner, because they just don't realize the information that we give is just really valuable because it's accurate. You eliminate all the misconceptions of estate planning, and we clarify a lot of things, and I think people really enjoy that.
Yeah, we have a good time, and I think that's something people don't expect is that they're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Sitting and listening to a lawyer talk about estate planning for an hour, they don't think that's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it actually is pretty entertaining, and we have a lot of different ways people can relate to the information. You can't just get up there and read a text.
No.
You have to make it to where they can interact and they can actually kind of get the point, so to speak.
Well, we tell a few stories.
Yeah.
Tell a few jokes.
Yeah, and it helps people relate and get something out of it. So encourage you to call, sign up for that.
417-882-1800.
Yep,
882-1800, right here in Springfield.
And today I want to talk about some basic concepts. There's this concept that I use a lot, and I use a lot of props when I'm sitting down with people trying to explain money. And, recently I've done some interviews, and, I've tell people now is not the time to be a passive investor. Mm-hmm. You need to be involved. You need to understand. If you don't understand, have someone explain it to where you can understand whatever you're investing in. And if you don't get it, then maybe it's time to shift gears and find something that you can understand.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to be passive. There's too much volatility. There's too much uncertainty. And I think you just need to be involved with your money. Now, there's one concept that I use quite a bit. It's the rule of 72. And it's a very basic concept. I think Albert Einstein's the one that actually kind of come up with this years ago.
He's a pretty smart guy.
Is, what's the effect of compounding on your money, basically.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, I don't even understand compounding, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. Well, the rule of 72 is pretty basic.
Yeah.
If you take 72 divided by 10,
Okay.
you come up with 7.2.
Right.
So now you work in reverse. It takes 7.2 years at 10% rate of return to double your money.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so you use that rule to determine how long it would take to double my money based on an assumed rate of return for a specific period of time.
So if you take your rate of return and divide 72 by it, so if
It'll
I'm
give you
getting
the years.
if I'm getting 5%, then I'm going to get 1.2, and my math ran out. So I'm going to get like 11 something, right?
Well,
I don't know. We tried to do math live on the air. It didn't work out.
so it's pretty simple. If you're going to double your money in 7.2 years at 10%,
Yeah.
if you make 5%, how long is it going to take to double your money?
14.4? Okay, well, that'd be an easier way to do it.
See, and it's an easy way to
Oh, okay.
relate to, based on actual performance of my money, how long it's going to take to double it. Now, it's just conceptually, it's looking into the future. So you assume, what if I can get a yield of 3 or 4%, right? Let's use 3.5.
Okay.
All right. So you work that number backwards. Basically, that tells you that you can double your money in 20 years based on about 3.5%. And there's charts and formulas that we use to get down to the specifics of that. But, you know, a lot of times people will come to me, they're 60 years old, and they say, look, I don't want to outlive my money.
Right.
All right. Well, how long are you going to live?
Yep.
That's the first question.
I'm shooting for 120,
Okay.
maybe 130.
So you got 60 years to go.
80.
Well, you're young, right? Not me. I'm shorter period. So then you can work a number backwards. You can determine. So if we use average mortality, you know, give or take, men, women, it's a little bit different. Late 70s, early 80s. By the time we get there, it'll be late 80s or early 90s because mortality keeps getting higher because of all
That's
the
right.
improvements. So now that we know that, so if let's say you're 60 years old and we're using 80. All right, 20 years. So let's say let's think outside the box. We got $500,000 in our retirement account. We've worked at this employer for 40 years. Now we're ready to retire. We're 60 years old. Now they often say, "Hey, Bruce, I'm going to need some income because my Social Security is not enough.
Right.
So I'm going to need that to supplement." All right. So let's take your $500,000 divided by 20. Right.
Yep.
So you figure out that number. Now, the real question is, it's not, do I have the ability to draw my money out for income? You do. How much am I going to have left in 20 years?
Yep.
If I do that, if I take $500,000 out over a 20-year period, what is that? That's $25,000 a year, right?
Right.
And $500,000 divided by 20, $25,000 a year, right?
Right.
Now, the real question is, how much will I have left?
Yeah.
So when you work backwards, it's like, all right, the first equation let's solve is the doubling effect of value. So if I said, okay, Will, you're 60, you want to make sure you don't run out of money at least to 80.
Right.
So in order to do that, we apply that rule of 72. We assume a rate that will get us to that 20-year period. And that number is 3.5. So forget all the speculation and brokerage. Everybody, you know, brokerage accounts, they're always optimistic. The markets are down, man, everything's on sale. It's time to put money in.
Time to buy, yeah.
Right? Markets are up, oh, jump in. You don't want to miss out.
Right.
They never have a bad day, but they never talk about the downside of the market and how long it takes to recuperate and the effect that that has if you're drawing systematic income out of an account. So if you have a depreciating value and you're still drawing income, then you have a sequence of return problem. Then you have a problem of taking money out of a depreciating asset. So now you should and probably will have a fear of outliving your money, not knowing what the volatility of your investments are in the future.
Correct.
So if you use a more secure type environment and you determine that I don't have to make 12 or 15%, I can make 3.5%, and I'm fine. Because I'm not going to run out of money. I'm going to have peace of mind. That's less stress on my investment. And at the end of 20 years, if you applied that, not only would you have the ability to draw income out during that period, you would still have value in the account at that 20-year mark to either pass on to your heirs or to extend. What if you live to 85? What if you live to 90? Then you still have income to draw from. So that rule of 72 can be used in several different ways to determine where you're at. If you're accumulating money, I can tell in 5, 10, 15 years exactly where you'll be. You might be higher, but we can assume a modest rate of return. And then if it does better, that's great. But at least you have the assurity that I'm going to have money to live on, and I'm going to have the ability to keep up with inflation on my own, because I'm going to be able to adjust and change my income as necessary in the future. And so my thoughts, you never back yourself into a corner. You always keep choices, options, flexibility, things like that. And that all comes with having a good established game plan that you can tweak and adjust along the way. So when you consider all of these different things, that's why we encourage people to come to our workshops and come and sit down and let's just have that conversation.
Yeah, you can come to
I'm
one
not
of our...
going to charge a fee to just visit.
That's right. Yeah, you can come to one of our estate planning workshops absolutely free. Call 417-882-1800. Reserve your spot. You do have to reserve your spot. When you get done with that, you're going to automatically get to meet with Bruce for free. He's going to help you put your game plan together. And then he's going to help you know how to come and talk to me. And we're going to save you money all around when that happens. So
absolutely.
Don't delay. Call today, 417-882-1800, and we'll be back next week with more Dollars and Cents.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and the Resource Center, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet a particular need of an individual situation. The Resource Center, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by the Resource Center, Inc. This podcast is a paid placement.